call this meeting to order, and I'd like to get to start out with, usually what we do is we simply go around and Kelly calls roll here, and then we all affirmatively make a noise to say that we're back here.
Okay, we'll get you David Finn.
Here.
Dara Silver.
Here.
Betsy Towns.
Here.
Elizabeth Rapetti. So Elizabeth.
Mutely here. She's mutely here.
Elizabeth Rapetti. Well, there's an iPad with her name on it.
Hey, I'm here.
Oh, there you are.
Okay, sorry.
Janie Wilson. Janie
She's
Wilson.
also muted. Janie, unmute yourself.
Sorry, I had to take a call. Are we doing the roll call? Sorry.
Yep.
I'm here.
Jane Dabb.
Here.
Barbara Campbell said she wouldn't make it today. John Rushton.
John, are you muted?
John's muted. Hey, John.
Yeah.
There he is.
He's here. India Beale, I don't see.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. You're iPhone 2.
iPhone 2.
All right. India's here.
iPhone.
Okay. All right.
So let's proceed with an approval of the summary of the minutes from last meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved. Ms. Betsy.
Okay, Betsy.
Second.
Janie seconds.
Seconds.
Second.
Sarah seconding it.
Oh, I'll second it if no one else will.
All right.
Okay.
All in favor? Let's see if we can all unmute and just go around real quickly to do this.
Okay. India.
Aye.
David.
Aye.
Dara.
Aye.
Betsy.
Aye.
Elizabeth.
Aye.
Janie.
Aye.
Jane D.
Aye.
And John.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Jay comes after I.
All right.
Wow. Thank you so much for so many of you being here today. We've got, I think the Winston-Salem Portrait Project, I'm really eager to hear about that. So let's go right into it. Okay.
All right. So last month we were discussing the timeline for the portrait project. And right now the sculpture and the physical pieces of the project are being fabricated. And we were looking at a timeline that takes into account COVID and the construction of the strollway and social distancing, etc. So Keisha and Jasmine wanted to be part of that conversation, and so we can discuss that and hopefully land on an appropriate time to maybe do the unveiling for that project.
Yeah, hi everyone. So just a quick update. So Aaron is busy putting together the sculpture and the murals. Actually, he hasn't quite started the sculpture yet. He's actually in the middle of doing the murals. He's probably put most of the framework together for all of them. We definitely had some delays due to COVID. I think the engraving for a lot of that was a couple of months late. also the materials delivery. So he's definitely a little later than the original schedule. But Jasmine and I wanted to talk. We sort of talked to Kelly earlier on about a spring opening. I originally, of course, it was slated for now, which is not quite possible. So I think Jasmine and I were sort of looking at April 13th or 14th, I think just after Easter, because I think the first weekend of April is Easter. Or sorry, 10 and 11. Is that right, Jasmine? April 10 and 11?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah. Like somewhere kind of in mid-April. So I guess like the things that we want to kind of get together before the opening of the piece, besides like the actual physical structure of the mural and the sculpture, is that a big piece of this project is also the images that participants took during the workshops of each other, which we had proposed last year would go up kind of as a pop-up exhibition around the mural. So that's a piece that we're working on. And also, I think as we were envisioning this opening event last year, it was very much like this event was going to be like a culminating event for all of the people who had participated in this project to come together, to bring their families, and to really have that be like an additional piece of connection that's happening. And I think that's something that we've been just kind of wrapping our heads around, is like how to do that now in a way that still kind of aligns with people coming together. Or like this really, like, it'd be really, really hard to have a virtual opening event for a project that is all about connection and people meeting one another. So knowing that it's still like everything is kind of so up in the air about gatherings, I think at minimum we would love for this to be something that can happen in person, even if it's like a socially distant gathering where people are all wearing masks, but at least we can like be together in space around the sculpture. So we're thinking that spring would be like likely the earliest that could happen. And it'd be great to kind of set a date, knowing that depending on how, like, what the status of things is at that point, like the event can be more together or more distant. But I think like being able to kind of gather around the sculpture would be really important at the end of it. So
also the sculpture is a three-dimensional piece, and it does invite people to come and explore it from all different sides. And I think that that's not something that you can really sort of represent online in any way. So yeah, we really love it if that it was an opening with the people, and I think that they are sort of hoping to be able to be there in person too.
It would definitely be great to kind of put a rough date down, because we are also we've definitely had participants kind of like reaching out and asking us, and we had actually like put together kind of a video update for them that said like, hey, this is going to happen in this spring, but we're like, okay, let's hold off on sending that until we have the conversation.
It's also important to put a date down so for Aaron can understand exactly when his timeline is. Our fabricator, for those who don't know who Aaron is, he's the person fabricating all of the sculpture and murals. So he needs to sort of know when he needs to be available, and so he doesn't book other work in between, which he's currently been doing. He's dotting work in just to sort of fill in gaps, because obviously he doesn't get paid until it gets installed either. Does anybody have questions or, things to say.
Betsy, you want to ask a question? I see you're unmuted.
Oh, I was unmuted because of carelessness, but I always have something to say, I think. And I think putting a date on the calendar makes sense, and it seems smart. That April seems like a smart placeholder at the very least, and maybe some kind of end point should definitely happen then. I could imagine an online celebration on that date, as as a celebration of the opening, if we have to do something that is not in person on April 11th, and then push on back to some kind of in-person gathering later, if that happens. And it seems like the ways that you, Keisha, and Jasmine have been able to gather people in so many different formats and so many different kinds of frameworks, that I could imagine us working together to create something pretty powerful online if we have to go that way, if it looks like we have to go that way in February, March.
I could ask a question and say, and wonder, so you have the central piece, the sculpture piece, and then you have the mural pieces. Are you thinking that they would all be opened on the same day?
I'm sure that the mural pieces will have to probably be installed on separate days. There's quite a lot. There's 8 murals. So I feel like they will be probably installed first or last, depending on how Aaron wants to put it together, what's easiest for him. But it's going to take multiple days to install for sure. This is not, he can't put, and also the sculpture itself is going to be built in sections and then built, and we also have to pour concrete, and so it's gonna, I think this is going to be at least a week long, if not more, sort of installation. But we just need to talk to Aaron more about his timeline.
What I'm getting at is the 10th date, the 10th or the 11th would be for the whole
thing, yeah.
Whole thing. So we would have groups all over the city potentially.
We could do that too.
For that.
Yeah. However, the participant exhibition will just be in the strollway alongside the sculpture, and I'm sure everybody will want to see their own photographs. Yeah, I mean, we could even do a timed thing where people go from spot to spot, so that you don't have too many people in the one place at the one time. Yeah, we're open to suggestions on how to make this a socially distant and safe opening for sure.
Yeah, it seems like it might be nice to have a series of openings up to the big opening, like a series of showings or a series of unveilings or whatever you want to call it, up to the big thing. And that may have to be virtual, some of that, if depending on where we are in that date in history. But I'd hate for anybody to miss being featured, their work being featured.
I mean, we could also create a virtual opening alongside a physical opening, so that people who don't feel comfortable coming in person can also join us online. So figure out a way to be able to set that up too. Because I'm sure that there are some people that won't feel comfortable. That some of our participants are, in the high risk, part of the world. I mean, yeah, they're either like have illnesses or they're elderly, so we wouldn't want them to miss out and feel excluded because they don't feel safe.
Yeah, several of the bus station people, for instance, had like little Facebook Live events of their bus station installations going up, and it was really kind of cool. It was very, it's exciting to be able to watch that, and they shared their opinions and views and excitement and that sort of thing as they were being unveiled. So I think that's something that might be very easy to put together.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I took pictures of the strollway area this morning. So let me share
Wow, Kelly's sharing too. Oh, Kelly's sharing.
Wow, there's grass.
There's grass.
That's huge.
There's a path. The bridge has a fence.
Soil and green.
So I'm thinking like right in this area here where the arrow is. And then, let's see.
So that street on the right there, Kelly, is that Liberty Avenue?
That's Liberty Street, yep.
Oh, Liberty Street, sorry. Oh man, I haven't been in Winston for a while. Excuse me, guys.
And then, let's see. And then this is from Liberty Street.
Oh, and then there's the walkway. So it'll just be if you're facing downtown, it'll be like just to the right of the entrance to the bridge.
Yes.
Cool.
Very nice.
The strollway then loops around. So from your arrow, it loops to the left and goes up on the bridge.
Yes.
And are we talking to Walter Hood at all about the work that he's doing just south of here? No.
I don't know. Is he doing the installation or is that?
Walter Hood has some new, I don't know if everyone knows about the Peter Oliver project that's taking place right outside the new Muse Winston-Salem building, former bankruptcy court. And Walter's doing interpretive park around the life of Peter Oliver. A lot of landscape work, just I guess a block south of here on the strollway. And Walter's a landscape architect who's actually from North Carolina originally and very interested in how the land preserves memory and history and how we can reveal what might have been there before. I just think I can try to work on making sure that he and Creative Corridors know that this is, I assume they do know that this is a location.
Yeah.
As well as Muse Winston-Salem, which is very interested in. It's the Museum of Understanding, Storytelling, and Engagement. And so it's also an organization that I could imagine being very, very involved in the mode of storytelling that is happening via the portrait project. I can imagine them being avid supporters of the opening event.
Do they have anything planned for when they start work or are working on the Peter Oliver spot? I mean, is there a timetable on that?
There is, and I go to a meeting on that tomorrow morning, and so I could I could offer updates on the timeline. Unless Kelly, do you know any?
I don't.
Thinking we don't want to have this date if they've already picked a date for something. I mean, I think not that I want to put it all together, but my thoughts are it should be compatible.
Yeah, I'll check in on those dates.
Okay, thanks.
I think it will be well after. It's a pretty significant landscape redesign, space design. So, but I'll check in.
Thank you.
So I guess I'm a little concerned that Walter Hood might not know enough about the portrait project. I'm very concerned about that. He should be made aware of what's been going on. And so I think we need to make some liaison with Creative Corridors in that regard, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And I confess that I have been a bit out of touch with Creative Corridors this summer, but I will connect with Mike Wakeford at the Muse Winston-Salem, the museum, as well as Creative Corridors, and make sure that this project is strongly on their minds as well. The projects intertwine beautifully, like revealing the humanity of Winston-Salem through the arts. It is all of a piece, and engaging the community all of a piece. So I'll be sure that that's on the radar there and get back to it.
We just want to make sure that there's no perception of any weirdness or competition or turf war or anything like that having to do with this, to try to make it all, put it all together so that everybody knows what's going on with that. Because, I mean, well, yeah, it goes without saying that this is becoming an important site. There's stuff that's going to happen there. A lot's going to happen there. So I want to make sure everybody's with it.
And is this like a new museum that's being established with like new programming, or?
The museum was formerly called the New Winston Museum, and they have been a museum without walls for about 2 years. The museum aims to tell stories, and especially lesser told stories of Winston. And so it's now called Muse WinstonSalem, and it is now right there on the strollway, just north of the railroad building where the Keenan Institute's smaller site is. And I mean, I don't want to take too much time, but Peter Oliver has a fascinating story that ties to the history and culture of Winston-Salem, a formerly enslaved man who was owned by the Moravian community because the Moravians could own other humans as a group, but not as individuals. And so Peter Oliver trained as a potter and became very, very skilled with his wares, extremely prized, and was able to purchase his own freedom and purchase the freedom of his wife. And when Walter Hood, who is an architect who's, as I said, so interested in how the history is there in the land, was part of the discovery of the fact that Peter Oliver's farm was right there on the location of the strollway. There's been a lot of energy in the city to raise money around that story and to build community around that story, because Peter Oliver also has about 30 descendants who still live in Winston-Salem. And one of his descendants is the famous basketball player, Chris Paul. And so there's there are all these different ways into this story, from sports to community to, the history of farming in Winston-Salem to the story of emancipation that is marked in his own life. And so Walter is building this park that has kind of layers built into the hillside of stories revealed. And Muse Winston-Salem will have, as its first exhibit, the goal is to have an exhibit called The Ones Who Stayed, which is, you might think of in relationship to Jacob Lawrence's series about the Great Migration of the Negro series. We're going to work with an artist, Jerry Haynes, who painted the people who stayed and built Winston-Salem. And so kind of this complementary series of 50 paintings inspired in part by Jacob Lawrence. So again, these related kinds of modes of storytelling and modes of revealing history and modes of revealing each other that you, Jasmine, and Keisha have done with the portrait project, kind of growing understanding and growing connections. So the works all make sense together, and they're also on the corridor from the Trade Avenue Arts District to Old Salem, and then School of the Arts. So there's a lot of powerful culture and history.
Yeah. And yeah, that's really awesome that it's all connected. And I think as part of the conversation about just making sure everybody knows what's going on, I think it could potentially be interesting to explore like ways that the museum might be able to activate some of these stories, even down the line, what that might look like. Because we'll be down there for the opening, and we definitely want to do a big thing that gets people together, but these stories and these portraits are going to stay there. So it'd be really interesting to explore.
I was thinking same thing. Talk about some kind of collaboration to elevate and build on things that have already been sort of done, but within Winston-Salem. That would be great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So let's mark April 10th and 10th, 11th on our calendar as a temporary date and keep us informed, right? Keep us surprised, and we'll be optimistic.
And that feels right, kind of the temperature of Winston-Salem and kind of how the city feels in April. Like that feels like a time when people are wanting to get out and be out, like COVID aside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a time, and it's definitely that spring awakening feeling of let's be outside. I mean, we might get rain poured on us, but we'll also have like cherry blossoms poured on us, and a lot of beauty and wonder that would complement the beauty and wonder of the artwork.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. Well, yeah, we'll work towards that as like the time to install and kind of unveil things, and as we get into the start of next year, figure out what the like gathering piece of it looks like.
Yeah. So do you think that it would be okay to sort of give this update to our participants who are eagerly awaiting an update on date of unveiling?
Do we want to talk to Creative Corridors and just make sure there isn't something going on with the bridge or Walter Hood or something else just before?
Yeah.
Could you get that update, Betsy, at the Creative Corridors meeting tomorrow morning? You're muted.
I'll even try to get a text update right now, and I could email that to Jasmine too.
Great, thanks.
Thank you. Okay.
Great.
Sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It is so great to see your portraits on our screen.
Yeah, it's so nice to see you all. We miss Winston-Salem. We can't wait to come back.
Can't wait to have you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Anytime.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
So Kelly, you want to lead us in the public plan update? You've been doing some meetings.
Yeah, so over the last couple weeks, I had 5 meetings. Three were in person and 2 were online. And we only had about 10 or 12 people come to all those meetings in total. But they were all, they had good ideas, good questions, and we got some good feedback. We also posted the survey, and I recorded one of the virtual meetings and put it online so that if you couldn't come to any of the other meetings you could kind of see what the meeting was like, and then had the survey there. And we got 90 survey responses. And nothing groundbreaking, but still some decent ideas. Let me see. I'm going to share. This is what the survey software spit out. So the first 5 questions were about our goals, and just to see if people agreed or disagreed with them. And they overwhelmingly agreed with the goals of the plan. This first one's about percent for art, future investing and future investments with public art. This is the number breakdown. Oops, sorry. Goal 2, just increasing funding. Pretty much the same breakdown. Goal 3, helping build up the local public art economy. Raising community awareness. and then caring for and managing the public art collection. So that was that. And then, let's see, I'll share the, I have another. Okay, so question 6 was, are there any other goals you think the Public Art Commission should have at this time? So these were the open answer questions. And there were some about, just being more diverse in choosing artists.
Wait a minute, defunding the Public Art Commission? Who thought that was a good idea?
There were some people who disagreed with the mission of the Public Art Commission. We didn't hear very many from very many people who disagreed that we should have public art.
There's always one.
Or two.
Yeah.
And that's fine. So, and then, this is a list of them. I'm going to go through them in more detail and just see if there's things to add to the plan.
Mm-hmm.
I think one that I saw was having a wall. In some cities, they have, I think it's here, number 13. Oh no, that's not it. There are walls, and I think in one case a tunnel where people can just paint murals as they want. They don't have to come for permission. It's just like the mural painting wall. You can go there anytime and paint. That might be something. I don't have a recommendation for where that would be, but that could be an interesting recommendation.
Love this input. Great input. Really cool.
Yeah. And then here, let me see. I'm going to share question 7.
Kelly, will you share this information with us? Can you send it to us?
Yeah, I can send that to you.
Thanks.
So this question was about what other projects. So people have some ideas of different projects. One person wrote, we do hear a lot from people who say, more in neighborhoods, but this person was saying we need to revisit the arts district. That a lot of the stuff is getting a little older, and maybe concentrate more on that area again.
I like that.
And it's just different areas, And I'll send those to you. And then question 8.
There's a lot of, it went down to 51 that those, ideas of other neighborhoods. That's fabulous that so many people have, and I'm sure it's not all the 51 people, but it's great that there is such interest in public art.
Yeah, I agree. And any other thoughts or suggestions?
Stop wasting money.
Local artists, a tunnel, contact Sika. diversity. I'll send this out. So I was going to recommend, we're scheduled to take up the plan for a public hearing at the October 6th meeting. I was hoping to schedule an intermediate meeting sometime in mid-September. I could send you kind of a marked up version of the public art plan that takes into account some of the public comments with recommended changes, and then we could talk about that exclusively at that meeting if you'd like to do that. In the meantime, I'll send you these PDFs of the questions.
Yeah, this is great. Thanks for putting it together. It's very concise.
Sure.
Right.
Kelly, have we approved the plan itself so that what is the series of steps? Can you just refresh?
So
that we need?
We have a draft of the plan, and that's what went out. That's what people are commenting on here. I'd like to take that draft, make some minor tweaks here and there based on some of the public feedback, bring it back to you at kind of like a work session meeting in a couple weeks, and then post the final draft of the plan that will be considered at the October public hearing online, and then you'll consider that draft on October 6th. And then, assuming that you vote to approve it, it'll go to City Council and the County Commissioners after that.
Do they have a date for that meeting? Do you have a date?
No.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
Okay.
That sounds reasonable. Sounds very good.
Do you want to, it seems like Tuesdays at 2 are typically a good time for you all. Maybe not. Do you want to say September 15th at 2 o'clock? That's 2 Tuesdays from now.
No.
No.
Sorry.
Should I send out a doodle poll? Is that too?
I think that would be fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so mid-September meeting to talk about changes.
Well, is there, I know, I don't want to take up time, but is there a way we could look for a time now so you don't have to go through a week of looking at polls and see when people might be available, or is that too hard to do right now?
It's up to you all.
I'm better the 17th or the 18th.
Anybody want to do the
It can work for
17th?
me.
What?
I can do either one of those days, 17th or 18th.
Same here.
I can do the 18th for sure. I just have class from 12:30 to 3 on the 17th.
Okay.
Kelly, I'm okay on either date at the moment.
Okay. Let's do is the 18th at 2 available for everybody then?
That sounds good to me too.
Okay. That sound good with you, Kelly?
The 18th at 2.
It's a Friday.
Can we get everybody chiming in? Who's with us here?
Let me just look at my calendar here.
Kelly, can you put the thing, make that little thing go away so we can see everybody again?
You can.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Ta-da.
Okay, 18th at 2. Everybody raise your hand that can be there 18th at 2 o'clock.
India, are you still on the iPhone too?
Yeah, I'm still on the iPhone too. Is there any way, I think Dara said she was available either the 17th or the 18th. Are you all not open on the 18th, the 17th? Because I didn't know the 18th was a Friday.
The 18th is a Friday, but I think David has a class on the 17th.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 12:30 to 3. Yeah, I can do it any other time. I can do it at 3 o'clock.
Could do 3.
3 o'clock? Thursday the 17th at 3. Everybody raise your hand. Anybody? Everybody got
My
that?
virtual hand is being raised. You can't see it though.
Okay, good. Thanks, guys. We did it now.
Thursday the 17th at 3 o'clock.
Right.
Okay.
17th.
Time 17, 3 o'clock. Okay. I'll put it on the calendar.
All right, cool.
Got it.
All right.
Put on the calendar.
Great.
David, you want to move to convocation discussion? Or?
Sure. Convocation discussion.
This is Dara. I'll start. So we met earlier this month, a small group in terms of talking about the convocation. And I had emailed some folks today just saying that we haven't been able to catch up. There's been a lot going on at the Arts Council. I think that the ideas and the essence of serving individual artists through the Artist Convocation is very much simpatico to what the Arts Council is doing in terms of looking into more services for individual artists. Timing is the issue. I couldn't do the September 15th and 16th because Keenan's Artivate is those dates, end of September, and I sent some information to Kelly to pass along, is Artists Thrive, which is September 29th, 30th, and October 1st. So we'll have much better leeway in terms of being able to pick back up in that discussion after October 1st. But again, I think some of these, in terms of peer networking for artists, workshops for artists, I think we could even go as far as doing some kind of public art boot camp in conjunction with the Public Art Committee. And what's nice too is that we've started working with Arts Greensboro on the upcoming Artist Support Grant, which is open and available to any artist in Forsyth County, as well as Guilford, Davie, Davidson, and Randolph counties. That due date is October 4th if people go to the Arts Council website. But the good thing is we've been working more with Arts Greensboro, who is also interested in looking into individual artist services. So we've got a good partner in that, and we've been doing virtual workshops with them. So I see some more opportunities in the future to kind of answer this call.
That sounds really good.
It was good. Thanks for the people that, you guys that we met, and that was a lot of fun just talking. I really enjoyed just talking about the ideas and stuff, and putting up with me walking around with a mask on and a computer trying to get a signal. So thanks so much for doing that.
Absolutely. And anytime, this is anyone, if you have any ideas on individual artist services or anyone in the community, pass them our way, the Arts Council, or anywhere in the Public Art Commission. And I feel like I saw some of that within the survey itself when there was some feedback. So I think there's some stuff there that's going to overlap.
Thanks, Darryl.
Thank you. Yeah, that sounds good. Are we ready for project reports?
Sure.
Any further discussion of convocation ideas? Those sounds like we should put those on hold for a bit, but I also say that there was a lot in that survey, so make sure you send that to us, Kelly. I'd like to take a look.
That was awesome.
I will do that. I'll do that. Okay, you want to do project reports? So 4th Street, this is the sculpture on the corner of 4th and Spruce. We've put together a request for proposals that splits the project between a designer and a fabricator. The RFP will look for the designer first, and then once the design is chosen, it'll open up again to look for a fabricator. The person can apply for both sides or one or the other. So this is kind of a no experience necessary, looking for somebody who's, looking to break into a large scale sculpture area. So this should be going out in the next couple days, and hopefully we'll be hitting it with the city's social media, and maybe we'll get the newspaper and television stations to pick it up too. So hopefully we'll get some good interest in it. Artistic bus shelters, they're all installed. The first 6 went up about 9 days ago, and the second 6 went up this past Sunday. The company who did it did a fantastic job. They look super clean.
Awesome.
And, they have that perforation on them so you can kind of see through. And then they have an anti-graffiti coating on them, but it looks, they look really sharp. I didn't see any bubbles or any weird hiccups with the printing. It looks, continuous between panels, and really happy with the way it turned out.
I've seen a lot of that on social media, but I've also heard about it around town. I think there's been a really good bang for your buck on those shelters. So kudos to the city for making that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hi, India.
Does the transportation department like them?
Very much, yeah. WISTA, the Winston-Salem Transit Authority. Yeah, they worked with us on the committee, and been really helpful advertising on the buses and everything else. So yeah, they're really happy with them.
That's cool. There was a lot of buzz on Facebook. It was really cool to see it.
Yeah.
It's really good if we can. I mean, there will be other maybe opportunities someday down the line to work with the WISTA, either on where placards are on the buses or things like that. So it's really a good step for us to be involved with them and have them know a little bit about our process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Had comments back to me saying, "Oh, let's do more. Let's do more." So hopefully we can do more.
Need money.
Yeah.
It's now that I have 12 under my belt.
Yeah.
I think the next round could go pretty smoothly.
Great.
Do you think it went better than you thought it was going to?
Yeah, actually, I thought there were going to be more hiccups with the printing and the installations.
Yeah.
Just, they said, "Oh, let's do it Sunday because there will be fewer people riding the bus."
Yeah.
And the guy called me at 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon and said, "We're done. They look great." I was really surprised at how quick they did it. And I went out that afternoon and saw them all, and they all looked great. So
yeah, it was great. I was having morning coffee, and Owens Daniels was going live and just like really excited. It was really cool. Like, I know that project.
Owens newspaper. I mean, his WXII piece was really, really good.
Yeah, it was.
He was a really good spokesperson for public art.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
right.
Good. And the memory wall of peace and love. The deadline is the 25th of September. So in about 24 days, we should start seeing applications come in since everybody waits till the last possible minute. I'm just gonna check.
Have there been any applications for that so far?
I'm gonna check right now and see if any came in, but we usually don't get them till the last week. So
Never mind.
let's see.
Can you remind us of the deadline for the 4th Street project? Is that sometime in October?
I think it's October 9th. October 9th. Yep, no memory wall. But I have talked to a few people who are interested in it. So we'll have some good applications, I think.
Okay, Kelly, is that?
That's it from me.
Okay.
We have a lot of participants. I don't know how many of these folks are from your class or if any of them are here for the public comment period. If anybody wants to hit the chat, I'll open the chat. And if you want to speak for the public comment period, just put something in the chat and I'll unmute you in order. Got Ann Rivas,
People.
Rhythm, Sean Hooper. I don't think I'm missing anybody.
Larry B.
Larry's in our marketing department. Meredith is in the city manager's office.
He's not real. We don't care about him.
What? He was real last time I saw him.
Larry is the one streaming our meeting live.
Kelly, may I ask a question as maybe chat comments are coming in?
Yeah.
So you just said as 12 of these, you have 12 of these projects under your belt. It's not so terrifying now. And, we had talked about phase 2 being a little bit more closely connected to the history and place, or, some quality of the spot where the work was, and possibly working with New Winston Museum or Muse Winston-Salem again was the idea that Martha Eller had in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Any sense? So she's contacted me and would like to chat with Muse Winston-Salem. Is there any sense of what a timeline would be for a next 12 bus shelters? I know. Just
I don't know if we have 12 more bus shelters that are I mean, we have 12 more bus shelters. I would want to pick them ahead of time. Just because there were so many that when I went around, some of them were broken. So we want to make sure that everything was in good shape.
That should motivate the people to fix all the bus shelters.
It should. But I would say for a second phase of this, we've got two projects going concurrently now. So I'd want it to be when they're wrapping up before we send out another RFP. So maybe in the winter.
Thank you. Thanks for your work on that, Kelly. Really
Sure. There's a lot of paperwork.
Yeah, doing 12. I mean, each one is an individual. Each one is an individual artist. It is a lot of work. It really is.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, we don't see any desire to have a comment, the soapbox is open. Anybody wants it? Anybody out there in Zoom land?
Zoom land, like it. That's right. We're really nice people.
Okay.
Good recipes, anything?
Well,
Looking for something.
it's very seldom that we adjourn a meeting early before our usual hour and a half.
I know.
But that's certainly possible. It is certainly possible, and in some ways welcome that we just don't drag on because we're here and we can talk. I mean, I think we've had a good meeting. If there are anybody, this is sort of the last call for comments and any other things that our audience out there wants to talk about. Put it on the chat. Otherwise, I think we'll begin to, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay. Thank you so much, folks. We'll see you back at the meeting in September to talk more about the plan and get that. So very good.
All right.
Sounds great, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Kelly, for doing all the
Thank
work.
you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.